Hi everyone, it's Dwillis, Kiwi Scrapper from New Zealand. I'm here to share a video of a project that I've done for a challenge for Rina Meyer, and I'll put that name in the description box below. And the challenge is for Rina's 50th birthday. So pop on over to Rina Meyer's video channel and check out that video for the challenge. There's still time to enter. She does want the items sent to her, so if you're international you need to probably get a move on now. I'm putting mine in the post within the next 2 days. So the challenge was to make 2 items, either 2 altered spools or 2 altered matchboxes, or 1 of each. So what you're doing is altering 2 items, 2 small items, and posting them to Rina for her 50th birthday. Now she doesn't want the items to be done as Christmas style, or in a Christmas style, because she wants to have them out all year round. So she'd like them to be done in a Shabby Chic style, and she'd like them to be done, or says they have to be done, in pastel shades. So that's pastel shades of like lemon, pale pinks, I suppose pale to medium pinks, I guess, peaches, pale blues, pale mint green, peppermint colours, white, cream, all those colours there. Okay, so I'm going to show you mine. I decided to do the 2 spools. The spools were not supposed to be over 1.5 inches tall. My spools were just a little tiny bit over 1.5 inches high. Now obviously once you've decorated your spools, depending on how they're decorated, they are going to end up being more than 1.5 inches, but the actual spool was not supposed to be more than 1.5 inches, so that she could hang them on a tree. So I just thought, while I'm nattering on to you, I'd show you some flowers I was making the other night. They're quite pretty, aren't they? I've got a big box of flowers that I've finally got round to finishing off, and a couple of new ones that I've made in a different style. Isn't that one pretty? Look at that. And that one's chill. So I might actually do, this is my new style, not new to anybody else, but new to me. Yeah, so I might actually do a whole video on all the flowers I've made once I've made a few more. So I'm going to pop those aside, and I'm going to bring out my first spool. And that's that. It's a little Shabbalicious spool. There you go. Now the actual spool is like there to there, so that's just over 1.5 inches high. And I had to unravel yards and yards and yards of cotton thread to get my 2 spools, because they didn't sell any in the shop that were around that size. They were either bigger or they were really miniature, under 1 inch. So to get that size spool, I had to choose 2 colours of thread that I didn't use very much in my sewing box, and just sit there and unravel them. And it took me about 10 minutes to unravel each spool. But anyway, so on this spool, what I did was I painted it with gesso, and then I painted it in pink lemonade acrylic paint, which is what you can see under there. And then around this one I've put this very pretty pale pink, it's a roses, sort of like appliques, but it was a whole sort of length. I think I had 1 metre of it. Then I put some, above it I put some pink pearlized sequins, which are rather beautiful. And I put some, above that I put some pink heart trim I had, which goes all the way around. And at the front I put 2 frills or fans of very delicate, very pale shell pink lace gathered, and then over top of that this very pretty prima flower, which is all sort of glitzed up, gorgeous, in pale pinks. On the top I actually originally covered it with paper, which was an authentique paper, the top and the bottom, and then over top of that I put this very pretty trim that I've got 1 metre of that from one of the Etsy shops. Never used it before, but just very, very pretty pink. mauvey pale pink, and pop that on there, and then over the top of that a pink ribbon, and then over the top of that a bit of pink bling in the shape of a flower. Then I put a pink satin ribbon, because your item had to have a hanger, obviously, to hang from the tree, and then there's pink pearl hearts on either side. Down the bottom I put this frill, which is very pretty, of pale pink organza with white lace over top of it. That's lovely, all the way around. And then underneath, on top of the authentic paper, which was music, sort of like tea stain music, I put seam binding, and this one is very, very, very pale pink, shell pink, very pale, and that one is cream. I mean, there's not a lot of difference between the two, really. And then over there, to finish it off, I put a pink pearl, fancy pink pearl. So that's my number one altered spool for you, Rina. I hope you like it. Okay, my number two altered spool. I decided to do that in a pale peppermint, or a peppermint colour. So first of all, I gessoed the spool, and then I painted on top of that with peppermint. It actually hasn't got a name, this paint. It's a new one I bought. I haven't tried this before, but it's the first time I've used it. Yeah, there it is. Most of them have names on, attractive names, but that one hasn't got a name on it at all. So that's what I used on that. And then I just wound around several times a very narrow dark cream lace, very dainty. And then on top, oh, that's the back actually, that's the front. And on top of that I put a very pretty tea stained applique, organza applique, and there's 3 flowers there. And then in the centre of the 3 flowers I put some topaz bling. A couple of flowers down here. This is the mocha one is a Wild Orchid Craft rose, which is absolutely lovely. This one is a peppermint that I bought locally. That's mulberry paper, and this is just normal paper, I think. Right, so coming up here, this is tea stained lace, frill lace I put around the top there. Put a pearl here, which is like, these are flat back pearls I got off eBay. This is a mocha colour, so 1 large on each side where I put the hanger, which is white silk ribbon. And then just these little tiny ones, which are the 4mm. I think these are 10mm, these are 4mm. And I've used them a lot, these tiny ones, and they're in the same mocha colour. And at the top of that I put one of these rose trims that you buy by the metre. I got that off Etsy, I think. Soft fabric rose things, as you can see. I didn't put anything inside it, I don't want to flatten it down. And then the same peppermint rose on the side here, that is down here. And then I wanted to put a trim at the side here, and I was sort of casting my eyes around for the correct colour trim, and I came across the big pile of cotton thread that I'd unravelled off this particular spool, which was in a sort of a jade colour. So I fashioned a bow out of a small amount of it, glued it in the middle, and then I popped it on here, and then I gessoed all over it so that it's come up a lot paler than the original jade, and it gives it a lovely old shabby look. And then in the middle I put a very small cameo, which you can see that's only very small. Oops, I'm a frame there. Very small. A little cameo I got out of a few cameos I got in a swap, or part of my prize winnings from Irene in Australia, and she's seriously scrapping on YouTube. And it was green, quite a strong green colour, so I toned it all down with gesso all around the front of it, so it's nice and pale now. Then we come around to the back, and at the back I just put a couple more of these on the spool, a couple more of these locally bought paper roses in peppermint colour, and some little bits of topaz bling to pretty it up. Around the bottom, there's 3 layers around the bottom, and that's purely by accident. First layer I put was the matching tea stain frill, which is up the top here. I put that down the bottom, and then I thought it would just look too plain. So over top of that I put this lovely jade pleated trim with the velvet, embroidered velvet at the top, and it did look absolutely beautiful. But then I suddenly realised that the challenge was for pastel colours only, and I gessoed over it, but it still looked too bright. So over top of that I put this cream frill. So I didn't want to risk pulling it all off and damaging the spool. Blue thread there. Why do they always show up under the light? So that's a lovely vintage, well I say vintage, it's like I think it was 1990, I bought that in Singapore I think. Yeah, so that's around there. And then I just popped on another, this is the back of the item, back of the spool, popped on another rose and a little cream, pale cream with a bow, with a satin bow with a pearl in it. And then I put around here some more topaz bling. Okay, so that's my number 2 altered spool. Oh, down the bottom, I covered it in the same paper as the top and the bottom, which, as I did the other one, which you can't actually see now. And then I put some cream lace there, and seam binding in a sort of a dark mocha, I suppose you'd call it, colour. And then there's a little peppermint fancy pearl in the middle. So that's the front of it with the cameo. I seem to be getting out of frame here a lot. Yeah, that's the front with the cameo and the little roses and the applique. And that's that one. So those are my 2. I'm just going to pop them off this tall box so that you can see them down here. No. So that is my 2 Shabby Chic altered spools for your challenge, Rina. I hope you really like them, and I hope you enjoy having them hung on your tree. I think they came out quite nicely. Quite pleased with the results. First time I've done altered a spool of this size, and yeah, I enjoyed doing it. So pop on over to Rina's challenge video, check it out. You've still got time to join up, and good prizes. I think it's the first prize is a $50 gift certificate to one of the Etsy shops, and go ahead and post them on over to Rina for her 50th birthday. So these are going to be winging their way to you on Monday. It's Saturday here, so winging their way to you on Monday, Rina. And I hope you love them. And happy birthday. Oh, I meant to say that the challenge deadline is the 3rd of December. So get a wriggle on. Okay, bye everyone.